Alright, how you doing? Welcome to Rapping Nature. I'm David, and on this channel I pay homage to nature and the ancients. Following my profound experiences in Egypt, I've been on a life-changing and spiritual quest. I explore megaliths, sacred landscapes, and the powerful connection between nature and the ancients. I hope you're able to join me on my journey and subscribe to Rapping Nature. Cheers! Alright, how are you doing? So today we're on the Isle of Arran, Scotland. I'm here today to visit Machrie Moor. This is one of the most significant and important prehistoric sites in Scotland. It consists of 6 stone circles, standing stones, and there's cairns and huts across this moor. And across Arran itself there are many other megalithic sites, so this is a very ancient and sacred landscape. There's been human activity here, Machrie Moor and across Arran for at least 8,000 years, and the stone circles themselves are thought to be at least 4,000 years old. Time at Machrie Moor. Well, technically it's my second time. I came here late last night, so I arrived on Arran around 7 o'clock last night after making my way from the Isle of Lewis. It was a long day yesterday. I got something to eat. Probably at that point I should have went to my bed because I was absolutely knackered. But then around 9 o'clock, the voices in my head, the stones were telling me to come and see them. So I walked across this moor where we are now. It was dark. It's raining a wee bit now, but it was wet last night. Cloudy, very dark, moody landscape on my lonesome, as you do, as I do anyway. To have a wee look, and that was an amazing experience, seeing the stones late at night last night. So it's nice to be here, see it properly for the first time in light. It's still a bit cloudy, a bit rainy, but this landscape is absolutely incredible. So as we come up to the stones, it's about half an hour walk to the stones once you drop the car off, and straight away you can see it's this very open, wide, expansive, exposed landscape. There's no kind of hiding in this space, but it's almost like it's surrounded by these hills. It's like an enclosure of hills. And then we have the sea behind me that way. So absolutely buzzing to be here. So let's take a walk back in time at Machrie Moor. This is an exclusive walking tour of Machrie Moor on the Isle of Arran. On the day I was there, the rain was fairly gentle, I would say, but it got increasingly worse and it was pretty full on. This is a very exposed landscape, so there's absolutely nowhere to hide. And looking back at this my time here at Machrie Moor, this is a journey, a landscape and megaliths that I'll never forget. I'll remember my time here for the rest of my days. My approach to megalith hunting has always been experiential, and all my learnings, thoughts and ideas are
from on the ground experiences at sites.
So different so far, seeing it in the light compared to when I came in the dark last night. I've seen at least 4 human beings, fellow human beings last night, not a soul, just me and the sheep. They were thinking, who's this nut job in here in the pitch black? But this is the big thing for me. I always talk about is that journey. I'm on my own personal journey with megaliths in my life, following these profound experiences I had with the light in Egypt. But the journey to on each of my visits, for me, my trips, that's for me, that's as important. It's the destination. It's the megaliths themselves, but also it's that landscape. Because these ancient sites are built in harmony, built in connection with nature and the land. So it's a wee bit wet, but this amazing backdrop. The seas, the face is that way, but it's almost like it's this huge moor is surrounded by hills, and that for me is intentional. That's not random in terms of the location of these stones. So I think from last night when I came, it was about half an hour's walk to the stones. Might be a wee bit quicker in the daylight. I feel you're exposed to the elements here. The wind, the rain, and my trips, my learnings on megaliths and my thoughts on ancient sites. It's all experiential. There's only so much you can get from a book, something you read online. For me, it's just going out there, being present and connected, seeing, feeling the land, and connecting and touching the stones. That's all my thoughts, feelings on megaliths. It's just getting out there and seeing these places.
The first site you come to after you park the car and walk across this incredible moor is Moss Farm Road Stone Circle. It's also known as Machrie Moor 10. This site is classed as a burial cairn surrounded by a circle of stones. Walking across this land, it definitely feels you're taking this path. You feel the movement, the journey, walking across this threshold. But coming to this Moss Farm Road Stone Circle, again, you're stepping over another threshold to an energetic space, and it feels like this is almost like a gateway to the whole complex here.
May I approach?
And this is how it was thought to have looked when it was built.
So this is the first site I've come to, Moss Farm Road. It says it's a cairn on this sign here, but it very much looks like a stone circle. These stones are made up of, I think they're red sandstone. These stones, perhaps some of them are granite. And across Machrie Moor, the stones are like red sandstone and granite boulders, which I find very interesting. I'm going to definitely be talking about that. So let's have a wee wander around this cairn or stone circle, Moss Farm. standing in the centre of this Moss Farm Cairn Road, this complex circular cairn. Stones are sandstone, some of them might be granite as well, built on this wee kind of elevated mound with a kind of ditch or bank surrounding it. But like a lot of these places in Scotland, it's just this very dramatic, exposed, expansive landscape which your eyes and senses really take in. And again, it just reaffirms my belief that the ancients viewed the earth as a living entity, but it was all about the land and the landscape for these people. The choice of stone, locations, the alignments of the stone. There's nothing random about it. There's no coincidence. It's not just a bunch of stones placed together. It's all by design, intent and function. But this landscape is beautiful, and even with the rain, I don't mind the rain, to be fair. It just really adds to the atmosphere, the experience of being here. It's really interesting seeing the colours of these stones as they change with the rain. I think this is red sandstone, which has crystalline and it has quartz within it. Again, no coincidence there. And this is layered sand, basically. Layers and layers over millions of years. And this stone perhaps contains some memory, some earthen memory of the landscape. Different qualities with the quartz, but also in terms of the light on the stones. It's beautiful. Your Moss Farm Road. On to the next one, here at Machrie Moor on the Isle of Arran. Very wet Isle of Arran. So as we keep walking, it's all about this landscape here. From when you dump the car, that was Moss Farm Road we've just been to, that's the closest one. And then to the main set of stones, sandstone stone circles, it's about 1.5–2 kilometres. But I can't help but feeling you're passing over a threshold. You're entering this ancient sacred space, you know, with stone circles. I always describe as stone circles, there is an energetic space, no doubt about it, but that's a cauldron of energy. There's energy flowing between those stones. You pass that threshold as you step into that sacred space, and it's kind of a wee bit like that as you walk along this path to these stones. You're stepping over into this, passing over the threshold, I don't know how you describe it, into that ancient space or that ancient domain. That's you feel that this again, just very exposed moor, windswept, wet, green, cloudy, dark last night, and back that way I don't think you can see it now, is the sea. It's an incredible landscape here.
The rain at this point was alright, it wasn't too bad to be fair, but you know, I think as I mentioned earlier, it did get a lot worse, and to this point where I think my phone wasn't working, my fingers were absolutely soaking, and I couldn't actually swipe up on my phone to open it up. So you may find some of the videos, the sound later on is not super clear. However, you know, I wanted to add leave all these noises, the background noises, to really add to the atmosphere, and this was my direct experience of being here in this very ancient, remarkable landscape, but a very open and exposed landscape to the elements.
I'm following my nose a wee bit. There's a bit of a path. There's a single stone there. I think that could be moss farm stone. So let's go and have a wee look, shall we? That's definitely it. Just walking across this moor here. Lush colours, the mud, the peat and the brown and the green. This is beautiful. This must be the moss farm standing stone, standing alone. One area. This moss farm stone, it's a wee beauty. I think red sandstone is made of, and I don't know, 4 to 5 feet, something like that. It's got this really nice fingers, almost these kind of grooves, weathered grooves on the side of the stone. Seeing the colours, this kind of darkish, reddish, browny, sandy colour with the moss clinging onto the stone there. And again we've got these kind of weathered grooves there. Almost actually looks a wee bit, it almost looks like a wee bit of a face there on that side. Faces. These are the heads, and these are the noses. place here. Maybe that's maybe just me. It's a really nice stone, this. So we'll keep going. That's Moss Farm stone. That's a fine standing stone. The rain has really opened up now. Windy. It's not something you might be able to, well, I think you can see the rain on the video, but in terms of what I'm seeing, feeling, experiencing, not so much, a wee bit chilly, but just that exposed to the elements. Wind in my face, the rain in my face. Seeing this open, expansive, ancient land. So let's keep going. The rain is really open up there. So what is this over here? Yeah, another solitary standing stone. Windy, very wet now.
So as we keep going along this moor, walking along the path, the next site we come to is Tormore 2. This is classed as a chambered cairn.
Wow. A single standing stone. Really small stones around it in terms of what's remaining. Again, this one I think is red sandstone. Scattered here. Come from at the Moss Farm road, standing stone we've just been to. This stone's really nice and interesting, the way it's pointing, slightly angled, and these kind of circular depressions in the stone. That's nice. Again, I think I see faces. This is like a nose, eye socket, and a mouth. From that side anyway. So we keep going, the rain is really opened up now. Got the hill turned up. There's nowhere really to take shelter in this very exposed space. As I would say, it's experiential. My boots are wet, so I have to feel it. And one thing is becoming apparent here, built very much in partnership with the land. Location is very specific, but from what I can see so far, I'm thinking like Callanish, or all these megalithic complexes, Callanish and Isle of Lewis. These are all remote, separate sites, but that's not like that. It's by design, so they're separate, but they're all connected, unified, part of a master plan. Machrie Moor, a kind of concentric style. We're seeing a wee bit of a derelict ruin house and cottage there, so I'm thinking I might take shelter in there for a wee bit, because I'm absolutely soaked. Circle. One of the main standing stones there, that's a beauty. Sweet home. Sleep. I'm now taking shelter inside this wonderful 3-bedroom countryside villa by the sea. Add to the atmosphere and the experience coming here. A wee bit of mission there, navigating your way under this roof. But all part of the experience. I don't think the rain's going to let up, so I'm going to have to make a decision just to crack on. But just have a wee moment here to dry slightly and to reflect a wee bit as well. It's just an amazing landscape. Walking this path, walking in the footsteps of our ancient ancestors to each of these separate but unified stone circles and standing stones. Now this may well have been a place of gathering, ceremonial, ancestral, funerary, perhaps at a later stage. But my immediate feeling being here is that each of these sites were built by design, built by intent, built with intent. But each of them, it's a functional space here with the land. Nothing random, no coincidence, it's getting a wee bit windy. I'm just looking up at this creaky looking roof. But each site, each stone circle and standing stone, I think, has its own purpose, distinct purpose for each of these. Unified and connected, and within each of the stone circles, stepping over that threshold, you step over the threshold as you walk the path here. But you step over a threshold of the stone circle within this energetic space, this cauldron of energy, and each of the stone circles, for me, my feeling is it has its own distinct energetic purpose. And there's water sources, so no doubt there's underground water here. They're very close to the sea. And again, very telling for me is the choice of stone. This sandstone, red sandstone and granite. Granite for me is very durable, it's a very, very grounded hard stone, one of the hardest stones. Sandstone is softer, but the granite stones are solid, grounded lower stones, whereas the sandstone standing stones are taller, which we'll see in a second. Sandstone is softer. But you just get this feeling of movement as you walk between each of the spaces. I'm also getting a wee bit of sense of music or sound from these places, like I don't know, like an orchestra of stone and land. Right, there we go, that sounds very poetic. Each of the sites are part of a energetic symphony with the types of stone, the shapes of them and the sizes of them. That's something that came to mind. So it's still raining a fair bit, but I think we'll crack on and see this stone circle which is next to this old house. So let's keep going, shall we? Machrie Moor 5. Very impressive. Circles, and it's very impressive, but again it's just this way it's positioned. Because behind me we have these large flat spaces. It's all about space and movement when it comes to Machrie Moor. And again, just with these stones, this Machrie Moor, the stones are granite, so these kind of squat, kind of ceremonial place of gathering. Be seated here because it's low and grounded, connected to the earth with these very hard, durable granite stones. So granite and sandstone. These stones again significant architecturally, made by design intent, functional. So let's quickly wander around these granite boulders. The stones here very interesting. There's a definite feel and shape to that one. On the left of it. Here has a bit of a panel shape to it, facing up to the sky. Head, nose, mouth. This is definitely the biggest stone. Oh, that's a grumpy looking stone there. Again, I don't know if you can see that kind of mouth. Centre. stone, this stone. So this stone, one of the stones surrounding the stone circle, there's a hole in it, and I was heard about this. There's a folklore and legend with this, the hole in this stone. It's thought, folklore and legend, this is where the giant Fingal, he tethered his dog, Bran I think he was, to this stone as he cooked his dinner and made a cauldron on top of the stones. What a sight, you're getting absolutely drenched. It's very, very interesting seeing that hole in stone there. So that's Machrie 5. We now have 3 here, 4 over here. There's a couple of people there, so I think I'm going to have to take shelter. We're coming to Machrie 3. This one has a wee bit of a face in it. Straight away you can see that, a mouth at the bottom there. Nose and an eye on the left. Beautiful looking red sandstone. Standing stone. This was one of 9, so trying to imagine what it would have looked like. I mean, it's very, very impressive. And I absolutely love the colour of this stone, this dark browny colour. Kind of fingers almost at the top of the stone, and these are the remaining stones. I thought there was up to 9, I think, part of this stone.
This Machrie Moor 3 is a giant of a stone. It's absolutely massive. It must be, it's up to about 14 feet tall, and there are broken stumps of several other stones which can be seen here. At this point the rain was really on another level, so the sound quality and the quality of the video did suffer because my phone was starting to play up a wee bit. But, you know, being really, really exposed to the weather here, it was such a great experience. So very close by, as we see here in a second, is Machrie Moor 2, which is perhaps the most famous of the stone circles at Machrie Moor.
Wet here.
Originally there was around 7 or 8 tall stones here at Machrie Moor 2 in this 45 feet circle, and only 3 remain intact, these massive pillars of weathered red sandstone. They range in height from 12 feet to 16 feet tall.
Try to get a wee bit of cover from the rain on the sight of that. Behind this massive standing stone. just very exposed, this land here, and it's incredible. Even with the weather, the rain, it's just such a great experience coming here. And again, these large, absolutely massive sandstone, again, it just feels like each of these stone circles have a different purpose and function. I was thinking earlier when I was in my 5-star hotel there, you get this sense of movement when you come here, passing the threshold of this sacred land into the threshold of each of the stone circles, that energetic cauldron. But each stone circle, I was thinking that in terms of sound or music, it's like an orchestra of sound. And each of these stone circles, it's a energetic, bear with me, energetic symphony within that orchestra sound. With the squat granite boulders, I'm thinking of like a bass, double bass. It's quite a heavy, grounded stone, and these are like high notes. Anyway, just a wee bit to think about, like that orchestra stone and land. So hopefully these videos work and you can hear me all right. I don't have the old microphone. I'm just using the stone to protect me a wee bit from the rain, and then we'll keep going. We're now coming up to Machrie Moor 1, which is a very impressive stone circle. Very interesting, this stone circle. These are granite boulders, sizable looking stones, that's for sure. Connect with the earth. Granite's a very hard and durable stone. This one's amazing. You can feel the energy of this stone circle. Perhaps these granite ones are feminine. Perhaps these granite boulders are more rounded, perhaps more feminine than these other tall, perhaps more masculine standing stones. Hopefully you can see the quality of the video now because of this rain here, but this one's a beauty. Machrie Moor 1 has alternating granite boulders and red sandstone stones, which
very, very interesting.
Kind of like this one here, kind of facing inwards, sizable, and this one's really nice. It's kind of soft, gentle, these stones. Standing stones, very lightweight sandstone behind me, are massive, very, very impressive. As I'm kind of getting the feeling I've been saying, it feels like each one built with intent, design, functional. Perhaps each had their own purpose. One thought is actually these large standing stones behind me. They could have been maybe to attract lightning, perhaps. These sandstone, granite boulders contain quartz. You have pH electric effects, so when this stone is placed under pressure, you get an electrical charge. Also, these stones are reacting with the telluric currents. This underground water. Again, I think water is very much the key to these understanding these stone circles. This one's interesting. Pattern on that stone. Like these ones, they're amazing.
We are now approaching Machrie Moor 11. This is the most easterly circle on the moor, with 10 small stones, all but one of them sandstone. Machrie Moor 11 is the last stone circle on this path, and is part of this incredible megalithic complex here at Machrie Moor on the Isle of Arran. So as we walk back and pass Machrie Moor 2, once again these three incredible, absolutely massive standing stones. There's one site actually which I missed on the way there, and that's Machrie Moor 4, which we'll have a wee look at shortly. Machrie Moor 4, this circle is opposite Machrie Moor 3, the massive singular standing stone. It's very close by, and here we go, here it is here. This is a 4-poster stone circle made up of these sizable granite boulders.
So there we go, Machrie Moor here on the Isle of Arran. I hope you enjoyed that. Sure you got a wee bit of a giggle seeing me getting absolutely soaked, and what an experience that was. The rain was fairly gentle, I would say, when I started off, and then it was just getting worse, and it was just incessant, and it's still going now. So what an experience that was. Went back to the car, I was absolutely stoked head to toe. So I've got a spare hoodie, trousers, boots. Just having a moment in the car. Actually, my trousers were absolutely drenched. They were very heavy, so I had to hold up my trousers on the way back to the car. There we go, that's something to remember from coming to Machrie Moor. But what an experience this is. It's this... Again, I had a few feelings and thoughts when I was there. I think I was mentioning this orchestra of stone, this amphitheatre. Hopefully, again, in terms of when I was recording it, you could hear it. I don't use a microphone. I probably should get one. It's just using my mobile phone. But with the wind and the rain, my phone was starting to malfunction a wee bit. So hopefully the sounds turned out all right for some of the videos. But just as you go there, you just walk onto this moor, this very open, expansive, kind of barren space surrounded by these hills. It's like this enclosure, this amphitheatre, and it's like you're walking onto this, passing the threshold. You pass the threshold for sure of each of the stone circles, and there's, I think, 6 stone circles here. But it feels like you're making I'm thinking commitment, but when you enter this space, energetic, transformational space, you're kind of making that commitment when you do that. And there is that kind of feeling of movement as you cross across the land. There's also the feeling of the rain as it cuts across and batters your face, but I'm sure you get sunny days here. But that feeling when you walk into this space, this sacred space, and that feeling of movement as you walk and go to each of the sites. And again, my feeling is all megaliths for me are built with intent and design, but there's massive intent and design here. These 6 stone circles. I think maybe each of these stone circles had their own function. They had their own purpose, and I say that based on the stones they've used and the sizes of the stones. So some of the circles are made up of granite stones, like these kind of chunky, round, robust looking granite boulders, which are quite squat and chunky. So they're like low and grounded. That feels like they're kind of grounded with the earth connection. And maybe if it was ceremonial, no doubt it's been ceremonial at some point, but that would be a place I feel you would sit, as opposed to the tall, slender, masculine looking standing stones. You're standing there, you're not standing attention, but you're standing there. These are massive, these red sandstone standing stones. So each feels like it has its own specific purpose, its own function. They've chosen the location at each of these 6 stone circles very specifically. They've chosen the type of stone, granite. Both granite and sandstone contain quartz. Again, no coincidence. We have the water sources here. There's no doubt deep underground water, but also very close to the sea. But granite is a very, very, very hard, very durable stone. And with granite, I feel it's like it's grounded, it's connected.
this red sandstone is softer. So red sandstone is like yeah, literally sand which has been compressed, put together over millions of years by Mother Earth. And one thought I thought was that kind of holds memory for all this stone compressed over whatever period, millions of years. It's held that memory. It's just like holding, containing. So again, I'm thinking now in terms of that stone circle, that cauldron energy. These granite stones are like batteries. They're like they kickstart. These kickstart this megalithic energetic complex. They're like the batteries. And these red sandstone, huge standing stones, they're containing that energy. They're holding it. That was my kind of thought and feeling. Another thought was with these large red sandstone standing stones, what if they attracted lightning? Maybe. And the other feeling in terms of that movement is, I don't know, I was thinking about sound for some reason. I recently went to Ballachmyle prehistoric rock art, not far from here, back on the mainland in Ayrshire. It's this, two beautiful vertical sandstone slabs that has this prehistoric rock art with these wee cup and ring marks and these carvings. When I was there, I was thinking in terms of music as well for some reason, like these were notes, like a song or music to remember something. Actually the Aborigines, they have, I think it's called song lines, and they use music as a way to remember paths to go between different places. And that's what I was thinking with the Ballachmyle rock art, as these sacred spirals, as almost as musical notes. I don't know, something I've been thinking about. And then being here, this is again orchestra, but this is a cathedral of stone and land. This place, this Machrie Moor, this is no doubt one of the most significant, prehistoric sites in Scotland. That kind of cathedral of stone, but thinking again in terms of the kind of the music, and this, these megaliths were built long before writing came along to the British Isles. And that's why I was thinking with this Ballachmyle rock art, this as music. I don't know, something about that. But this is like I was thinking as I was in the 5-star hotel there, getting absolutely soaked, that old ruined derelict house, that like this, it's kind of like this orchestra of energy. Each of the stone circles are part of this wider symphonic, if that's a word, a symphony of energy. And each of the stones, depending on the type of stone and the width or the size of the stone, have a different musical note. And seeing these chunky granite stones, that's a heavy, deep sound to me, like a double bass or something. And these very tall, these massive red sandstone standing stones is more of a high note. Anyway, off on a wee bit of a tangent there, but these are just kind of the thoughts and feeling I was having as I was moving across this very wet landscape. The rain is very much cuts across you. So I'll dry off in the car for a bit, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully the footage, you can hear it, and
give you a sense for it. But again, being here with this rain, it's all part of the experience. This is, you know, I always talk about the journey. This is a journey I'll absolutely never forget. I'll remember coming here for the rest of my days. And, you know, this is a magical, very mysterious and sacred place, a place of great significance to our ancient ancestors, who, as always, I give, you know, thanks and respect. So thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate it. Please give us a wee like, comment and subscribe to Rep in Nature. All right, nice one. Cheers.